Those who agree and those who disagree with this bill know that the appointment of Mary McArdle in 2011 caused great public unease for many, and great disquiet and great debate. But above that, great hurt, in particular, for the family of her victim.
So the SDLP needs to think carefully about what they are about to do today. Each SDLP MLA has an opportunity, and I emphasise that each SDLP MLA has an opportunity to stop discrimination being introduced in this House. This is Jim Allister trying to bring the old Stormont into the new Assembly, to reintroduce real discrimination.
I have heard a lot of speculation, a lot of scaremongering that this is the thin end of the wedge and that we will move on to try and stop people with conflict-related convictions of becoming teachers and the rest. Of course not. It seems to be a message being sent out by Sinn Féin to the faithful. Don't worry, we may now be wearing suits, we may be working up here at Stormont, but we haven't forgotten our roots.
I was given the responsibility prior to the Good Friday negotiations by my party to be the Sinn Féin chief negotiator. And around me was gathered a very experienced team of ex-prisoners. They were also a very experienced team of negotiators, people who were absolutely wholeheartedly in favour of the peace process, wholeheartedly in favour of inclusive negotiations, and wholeheartedly willing to accept the outcome of those negotiations.
Mr. Speaker, as others have already stated, this issue has now become much broader than the words on the paper or the direct consequences of the legislation. It has become a focal point for highlighting the frustrations at the lack of recognition of the place and needs of victims within our peace process, 15 years from the Good Friday Agreement. We are continuing to address the past in a piecemeal manner, with demands for inquiries, etc., when instead we need a comprehensive process for dealing with the past. So until we reach that point, we will have to make calls on individual matters that come before us. The challenge is to ensure that what we do is not fundamentally against the spirit and letter of where this society has evolved to over the past decade, and I do not believe that voting for this bill goes against this.
The SDLP's position on victims has always been consistent and has always been clear. For us, there is no hierarchy of victims. All victims are entitled to justice and equitable and fair treatment, regardless of circumstances. And that's even regardless of their membership of a political party or employment by a political party. That doesn't increase their entitlement or their preference. But what does mean that equally that employment does not entitle them to priority over another victim.
And now he finds himself at the coalface of this maelstrom around the issue of advisers. Well, let everybody in this House remember, he was not the first adviser who was an ex-prisoner. It goes back 14 years. And there are people sitting here in this House now who are pontificating about this issue who knew that. So what changed? I'll tell you what changed. The TUV got a member elected at the last Assembly elections. And as I said when I tweeted last week after I got back from China, we have the ludicrous situation where one anti-agreement unionist has been able to pick the SDLP up by the tail and swing them all around.